our next presentation, I will show you on the slide first. Yeah, will be Svetlana's Likhareva presentation from Microsoft. She's a Marketing Signals Center of Excellence, EMEA Director. And her presentation name is From Data to Dollars, the AI-driven IBM Revolution. So Svetlana, I will add your presentation to this stage. And just a second, I will remove myself from the stage as well and add Svetlana back. So Svetlana, please start. Yeah, it's exciting.
Good morning, everybody, or maybe good afternoon. I hope you can hear me well. If not, probably organizers are gonna let me know. I'm very delighted to. Super. I'm very delighted to be here at this conference, and I actually learned quite a lot also from my peers, listening to the panel discussion as well as from you, Olga. So it's actually very much thank you for hosting me here. What I'm going to be talking today is about some practices we apply in Microsoft, we use in Microsoft for quite a while, which actually allows us to monetize our ABM approach. And that's the way how we do that. And to build it also on the last advice, we're actually connecting very much to sales and marketing. As you can see, it's our connected sales and marketing motion. ABM, and I'm very pleased to share that with you. My name is Svetlana, as Olga said, and I'm responsible for EMEA in our marketing signal center of excellence. Moving forward, I don't know, how can I move slides? Okay. This is the world we live in. For me to take a little bit of a step back, right? What's happening is that our customers have so many ways to collect information, to really learn everywhere as they are, and they are attacked by us marketeers with through all these channels with a lot of information. Because we try to engage them, we really work hard to give them required information. We want to inspire them, we want to drive their interest, and eventually we want to kind of create this purchase intent, right? That in this world of abundance of information, that actually creates a zillion, millions of signals that our customers are exposed to. And that creates a very, very messy, I would say, customer footprint, a very complex universe of customer signals that they give us about what they want and what they're truly interested in. So if we're going to go to the next slide.
I'm sorry, Svetlana, for the slides, could you please try on the stage? Maybe you can switch them yourself. Yeah, does it work for you?
No, I don't think I have like any way to move.
Okay. So then I'll help, because on the stage here. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Hopefully we can manage. I'm sorry for that. Now, one of the most kind of difficult things probably for marketeers, right? And that was also mentioned at the previous panel, is how we efficiently and effectively blend these all custom interactions with our sales organization. So like in the way that it's the most useful for sellers so that they can be really effective. In many customers, this kind of handover or this kind of custom interaction, they are reduced to just one signal at a time. Let's say it's an event or it's a trial download or whatever it can be, like a webinar attendance, etc. Now, we kind of challenged ourselves in Microsoft to think there is a better way to do that. Now, if we go next, then imagine if we see this kind of picture combine. I cannot move the slide. Sorry, Olga, you're saying that you need to help me. We see these kind of signals all over the place. Now, imagine we can kind of give all of them to sellers. They, they can probably be very confused, like how they can distinguish what customer intent is, like what they're really interested in, because like different personas, individuals in one organization can be interested in multiple things. So like how we define like really what is a top topic or top theme and what is really their intent, right? But at the same time, and if we can move slide forward, one footprint doesn't help either because it doesn't give us a whole picture. So like what is actually the right way? And if you go further again on the slide, that kind of was a picture that we had before when our marketeers, and we are a big organization, right? Like we're present in pretty much every single geography, and we have field marketeers and we have global marketeers. So like our organization was operating quite in silos because everybody would kind of develop their own marketing program. And, like one in Korea, another like in Taiwan, for example, or there would be a global program, and then everybody would claim the same result because like they would have like the same customer who attended that event or another event, right? And then like global programs, like trials program, for example, they would claim the same result and the same influence on the customer. So it actually was not very consistent, and also customers were not, having like a great experience because they would interact with us as Microsoft in so many different ways in very inconsistent manner. So we would not have like one picture on a customer. So we understood that we really needed a more consistent approach to how we do marketing, and we also needed a better approach to how we actually see the customer and how we then give signals to our sellers so that we maximize the output. And we created ABM. And we need to go to the next slide. And to the next slide. And that is our ABM engine. It's a very simplistic view, of course, on the ABM engine, but let me kind of explain. First of all, it's important to kind of to say that this engine connects marketing with sales. It's not just about for marketeers, it's like really connected engine. In this engine, and let me kind of go from left to right, in this engine, we're able to collect zillions, like thousands every day, of signals from our customers, and that might be coming from events or trials or in product information like webinars, big events, small events like local roundtables, etc. Like everything that our customers interact with, we collect the signals, we curate the signals, and then like we move them into so-called customer programs. These customer programs are designed based on customer size because like we have different segments, we segment them, of course. They also design based on product portfolio and like business priorities that we have. And then, of course, like we put each individual contact based on the interest that they expressed, right? And then that allows them to receive also like relevant nurture over the course of their kind of life in our system that actually corresponds to their interest. Now, we need to do next step because we're working with commercial organization. So like it's kind of very good to see like what these individuals are doing. Remember this picture with multiple footprints on the sand, but we need to also understand like what actually company thinks, like what the company intent is, right? And what we do, we actually map in our data system. It's actually a very difficult task. We map all these individuals to our organizational kind of database, right? So like we map these individuals to specific customers' organizations to see then, like and to attribute these behaviors to one kind of B2B company. And then we apply machine learning. And that's where AI plays a huge role for us. We look at all the signals and we try to predict which company for which priority gonna be actually more likely or the most likely to produce business with us in the short term. Because there might be a lot of kind of signals, but maybe based on historical data, we can say what is actually likely to happen with each customer. And when we see this intent strong enough, then only we produce a signal for our sales force, which we surface them in our CRM. And if we can move a slide forward, we are creating this kind of connected fabric, and I can call it like a magic of connected sales and marketing, so that marketeers are focusing on demand gen, and they also have like a lot of intelligence about like what actually works and what doesn't, probably like what tactics work. So they're like really working on acquiring contacts for specific customers, and then sales or sellers, they're actually able, based on all this intelligence and contacts, they can actually able to prospect and then develop either new opportunities or accelerate existing opportunities that they have with their customers. Now, on the previous panel, we were talking about like ABM. It's like forward, one or one to few. And here, if you're wondering like really what kind of scale I'm talking about, and if I can move forward one slide, we're talking about programmatic ABM. What does it mean, programmatic ABM? We are working with a massive base of customers. I'm talking about thousands of customers in here, because we are able to use AI and power AI to look at actually at a very big base of customers. And we serve all our segments. We work across SMB, mid-size, and enterprise. Of course, we use a little bit different model for each different approach, because they're different, but we're actually able to serve all our segments at Microsoft through this programmatic ABM. How we do that? If we go forward on the next slide, or how we plan it. There's something with slides, but it doesn't matter. So the process looks like that. One step, it's of course planning. So we need to define what our business priorities are, and like based on our product portfolio, what we're gonna be actually pursuing. And we're not going to for everything. So we'll try to like really understand and kind of rationalize what is the most lucrative business that we can have next year, for example. That's one. We call them solution play. Like it's kind of scenarios that the customer is going to be buying our product portfolio, and we may have like tens of those, but we're going to choose which one we're going to pursue. And I think that what kind of on the previous panel also was mentioned. We need to kind of start somewhere. We may start with one solution play. Now we are running many, but we choose which ones we're going to put our money and our effort behind. Then we very carefully define what's going to be the target audience. It's not every customer. We need to define like who are going to be our target customers based on their consumption, purchase history, industry. A lot of factors are taken into consideration to define the target audience. And then we target these customers with our integrated marketing plan, and there might be very, very different things, including contact acquisition. For example, we're running paid media, we use LinkedIn, we use affiliates, we use different tactics, but we try to kind of really reach out to these customers with relevant messages. We test, of course, these messages, and we try to engage them. And then we kind of move into step 2, where we're actually trying to provide insights or like intelligence to our sales team through our ABM engine, so that they can prioritize these accounts where they're going to have like their next conversation, so that they become like really productive. And we enable them through this intelligence given like, in sales tool for these conversations. I think that we mentioned that we can give them collateral, we do it as well, but we kind of give them the kind of, I will show you how it looks like. We give them the recommendation which customer, which contacts they can actually engage with right now. And finally, of course, we measure so that we can really optimize. Now, I understand, if we can move just one slide, that it's kind of difficult maybe to understand. So like, let me give you a sort of a demo. Of course, it's not a demo, but it's kind of a demo so that you potentially can see it in an easier way. So like if we can move on, look, here we have Chris. So Chris is a sales director. So she's actually looking for potentially CRM solution for her department or for her sales force. So what she does, she goes and downloads Dynamics 365 trial on our digital property. Once she receives a trial, of course, she gives us some personal information. So like usually we would get her email. So like what we actually do is start nurturing her around the topic of CRM and Dynamics 365 sales with some kind of emails. And if we can go further, what happens during this kind of nurture, she might be invited, just one more slide, please. She might be invited to read some content, like a book, or attend some webinar, or maybe come to a local event or some flagship event, or read an analyst report. There might be different things. They basically offer to her based on her interest. And if we can move on, just one slide further, it's not just her. There are other people in the same organization which might be interacting with different things that we have kind of programmed for such audience. For example, IT director may also actually kind of go to some event and see something about CRM, or we can have a CFO also exploring something. And we see all these kind of interactions from all these people in our system. So then we can actually rationalize and decide what these people and what this company is most likely interested in short-term perspective. So like going click further, based on all these interactions, we produce a recommendation. So like how it looks like. And recommendation actually serve to sales in their sales tools. If we can click further, this is basically a kind of an example of how recommendation can look like, right? So we see it in their CRM. It's actually our Dynamics 365. For one, we show them like which solution play this recommendation is aligned. So basically, what is the scenario the customer is most likely interested in? There might be few recommendations for few scenarios, but this is just an example that we see that for this particular scenario, for this particular solution play, there is a high interest, for one. Second, and that's where AI also plays a role, it's actually contacts. So we recommend some contacts, not all, maybe hundreds, right? Like some developers might come from some technical event and you might have like 1,000 people from one company. But they're probably not very relevant contacts for sellers. So we kind of try to rationalize through all the contacts that we kind of accumulated, who are the most useful contacts and viable contacts to actually for sellers to get in touch with. And sellers may choose. And three, we actually give some insights. So we explain like why we kind of form this recommendation, what is behind, how many interactions happen, how many contacts, like we're interacting with what. And sellers can actually go deeper and see like more than we give it like in just this recommendation. So that's basically what sellers get. And one click further. This is a journey of a customer as an example. And the beauty of that both sellers and marketeers can see that in the system. So they can actually access this information and see like what this customer is experiencing, what they're consuming, where they're going, like what kind of events they attended, what kind of trials they downloaded, etc. So they can actually build the picture also in the timeline perspective. And that exactly where it connects with sales and marketing as well. So like both are seeing that and both are actually like enabled or like empowered to take some actions. In the marketing side of things, and if we can go further on the slides, we have so-called marketing engagement index system. And this is mostly for marketeers. So basically the same information, like, the same kind of data, right, that we kind of use to provide signals to sellers, we actually use also for marketeers so that they can optimize their marketing tactics for the future. So they can actually see for a segment, for a geo, or for just one customer, what actually this customer is doing and what his engagement index. Engagement index is basically based on two things. We try to predict whether the customer is likely to buy something versus other customers based on his or her interactions. And that's actually wrong. I would say like their interactions, because this is based on the company or like on a company organizational structure, right? So we try to determine this index, and a company may be engaged highly, it can be just engaged, it can be low engaged, it can be non-engaged. And that's of course like a signal for marketeers. They actually need to think about these customers, how they can engage them. and they can look like all the history, and they can compare same customers, etc. So it's a very dynamic system that allows marketeers to kind of really analyze everything which happens in the past with a particular customer on a particular geo segment, etc. Like in any kind of slice that they want to analyze that. And moving further, maybe a little bit of further information. I think that you kind of got a point that we kind of score that, and we kind of use AI to really to see like what customer is prone to. I think that what is actually very interesting, what we saw, that this prediction works pretty well. We see that customers who are kind of highly engaged, they usually have a higher win rate. You can see like for Asia, it's up to 7 times. We see a higher likelihood for customers to actually be, to purchase something or to start consuming something. And what is good for marketeers, they can actually analyze this data and adjust their plans, right? They can boost engagement, or they can kind of like really craft different strategy to engage customers which are not engaging with kind of current marketing plan. And moving forward, you can imagine, because we are talking to like sellers in globally, like in all the geos, just to give you a sense, we have like more than a dozen sales centers. We have to run the whole machine of ABM as a business. And we do. So like, if you can show like next slide, please, you can see that we run it like based on kind of how like normally people kind of run the business, right? Like we have some KPIs, and we actually share accountability with our sales counterparts. So take an example, right? Like a KPI on media performance. So we look at how many contacts we acquire, whether we're meeting the forecast based like on the budget that we put into media performance. And this is marketing accountability. Also, our team take accountability on signal delivery. How many signals we produce? Are we reaching out to all accounts we want? And like what is basically our, and are we reaching our own forecast? And then seller organization, they also have an accountability for activation. So like how they and what they're doing with the signals that we give them, because like we spend money on that. So like they kind of like really take accountability for working these recommendations and producing or accelerating pipeline. And this is a metric that we use, like what is the action rate and what is the acceptance rate, and then like how they're converting into new pipeline, or how they kind of work on existing pipeline. And we'll look at these metrics together. Like I meet like with my sales counterpart every month. We look at them, we like see the trends, we try to optimize whether it's on marketing side or on sales side of that. So this is basically how we run this machine. And at the end, what we have, one slide further, and this is kind of almost the last slide. We built a system, or like an engine, which we call ABM. It's programmatic ABM, so we reach out to really 2,000 customers based on AI, which is bringing value to marketeers, to sellers, but also to customers. We have marketeers who can actually, who has the engine to target in a very personalized way some specific customer cohorts, and then like really drive marketing impact with them. We see sellers who are very empowered to have the right conversation with right customers at the right time, with the right context. And then we have customers who are better satisfied, because like if they give like a signal, like we want to talk to somebody, we actually address it immediately, because sellers receive the signals as well. So that allows us to really serve our customers also better. That's pretty much it I had for today. I would be looking forward for your questions, and you can reach out to me via email or LinkedIn. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Svetlana. It was very practical and interesting presentation on what you do at Microsoft. So it's not some like theoretical information, it's practice. That's why it's very, very valuable. I'll switch to our view. So yeah, thank you so much. And I have a question from my side. Could you please share maybe some interesting preliminary results or the final results of some specific campaigns on this system you've described right now?
Results. Well, it's I mean, I think that important to say, right? Like this is always on system. We don't start, we don't stop. Like it goes on, right? Like
Mhm.
I think that we have like our benchmarks which we want to achieve. So let's say if I look at how our sellers kind of respond to the recommendations that we send, and we send thousands, right? Like it's really big volume. Like just in the media alone, it's like we're talking about thousands of recommendations because we also have thousands of customers clearly, right? So let's say we have like really good conversion rates. We have our benchmarks. I'm not sure I can actually expose that in here for like a lot of audience, but we kind of really track, for example, for Azure, we're on a very good track. Um, for example, data and AI, we have like this kind of a scenario. It's tracking really, really well. A lot of customers are actually engaging. So we're able to reach like up to 90% of our target customers through our marketing. And then what we see is that acceptance rate, or like action rate, of course, like we actually try to keep it above 90. And then we have like acceptance rates also very high. And then we have conversion rate also very high, both for net new opportunities, but also on associated kind of opportunities.
Great. And the next question from our audience, because before we talked about ABM and marketing and sales alignment, do you have any tips and tricks on this part? How to how to build it? How to build this process of great
Call
alignment
me.
between marketing?
That's a long answer to that. It's not easy. Alignment with sales, it's a long journey. What I think that is important, and maybe like one tip sort of, right? Or maybe two. It's a kind of a line in the beginning to say that's what we're gonna be doing. That's where we align on our business priorities, right? So these are the things that are important to like to marketing and sales. We're gonna deliver you X, and you're gonna deliver Y, right? So like it's very very important to align in the very very beginning where we're gonna be focusing and who gonna be delivering what. That's important. Second, and that's my second three kind of tip in transparency. It's very important to actually put things on the table and to kind of really discuss it openly because things may not go right, especially in the beginning. Sometimes it's not actually working, right? So we need to find a way. For example, volume might be off. We might have too much or we may have too little, right? And then like it's important to have that conversation and initially probably like sort of every single week, and then you can move it maybe like twice a month, and maybe then you move to months, and then you move, you need to have that conversation with your sales counterparts about like, okay, we agreed on these things, these are the KPIs, let's look at them.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. And I think this is the key of success when you have a great alignment with sales. Yeah, everything works. So thank you so much, Svetlana. And I would like to share your contacts again, just in case, for everybody who would like maybe to connect with Svetlana on LinkedIn. It would be great, I believe, because Svetlana is very open and she's a great expert. So thank you so much for your valuable presentation. And then it was Svetlana
My pleasure.
Likhareva from Microsoft. Yeah, thank you. And we will continue. We are ending our event already. And at the end of the event, I would like to share our LinkedIn newsletter. Please subscribe. It will be about social selling for B2B, account based marketing, some practical tips, case studies, expert insights. So here's the QR code. You can just go to the link and follow the LinkedIn newsletter. We have an email newsletter as well. And if you've registered to our event, you will be part of it and you will be getting these insights as well. So, and at the end of our presentation, our conference, I want to say that thank you. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We had many questions, many reactions on the chat and the comments. And if we haven't answered your question, your specific question, in this case, we'll follow up as usual. We do in B2B marketing and sales. We'll follow up on that and answer all the questions after the event or maybe during the next days. So, and to not to miss our upcoming events, follow the Modum Up page on LinkedIn or follow our newsletter I've shared before. And the recording will be saved on the same page, like on the event page. Plus, we'll also upload it to YouTube. So you'll get the recording if you'd like to double check, for example, some moments and watch it again. So thank you so much for your time, for being with us. And if you have many more questions, please just post them in the comment. We'll get back to you. So thank you so much. And thanks to our amazing experts for their valuable insights. They were really practical, interesting, and bright. So thank you. And have a great rest of your week and your day and your productive year. Thank you. Bye.